doing this for the prettiness of it. I just wanted to get this guy so we could see the relevant structure. So, yeah, you have a list?
Yes.
Okay. Since I gave all mine away. Okay, so there's a couple things. We're looking at some things at the anterior side, up on the head end, and we're going to look at some vessels down at on the posterior end, okay? And these are actually, you know, most of these are pretty much the same as what we find in humans, and so that's pretty nice. What I've done here is I've actually broken through the rib cage so we can see some of the things more easily, and I've also opened up the pericardial sac. And so just realize that when you look at this tissue that's sitting on top of the heart here, that's part of the pericardium, okay? The lungs are on either side here. We'll deal with them next term, and I'll probably get a different specimen for that. So I don't know if, yeah, we're gonna have to work around this to see how folks can see this, okay? So basically, we'll start off in the neck region, okay? And a major structure that one sees here is this large, looks like a vacuum cleaner tube. That's the trachea. Okay, so that's a good landmark. Now you can't see the larynx yet because I haven't dissected up far enough. So basically we're down at the lower end of the larynx. This is the trachea, and that's significant. I moved away some of the digastric muscles here from around the trachea. Realize that behind the trachea, if I just separate this out, is a large muscular tube, which is right here. And that large tube is the esophagus. So can you all see that?
Yeah.
So you have the trachea and the esophagus, and it's kind of offset, so you're going to have to kind of squeeze in here behind me. I'll just try to keep it pushed up here. So here's the trachea, here's the muscular esophagus underneath it there. There's some small nerve fibers. That's not the one we're interested in. But then right here, you see this nice little red structure, and this is an artery, and this is the carotid artery. Okay, so this is left carotid artery. Okay, now I had on there left and right, but I've only really dissected out the left, so the right's the same thing on the other side. Okay, now running associated with the carotid artery, and this is, I think this is on your list, is this nice structured white band of tissue just right there, seen under my probe, next to it. That's the vagus nerve.
Oh.
Okay, so you can see the vagus nerve sits right next to it. Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, no? Anybody not see it? Can you see it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, the other thing that we have up in this region is a jugular vein, and that's out here. This is an external jugular here, and basically it comes up, part of it's broken, but it comes up along the outside right here. But this is it here. Usually,
it's way bigger.
It's, yeah, well, part of it's, you know, again, it's bigger because it's dilated. Because of because it's thin-walled. When they inject it, they blow up more. Okay, so that's basically this is the external jugular right in here. You can see where it travels up on the outside here, but it's been broken right here. Okay, so we're not going to find the internal because I didn't go and dig that one out. As you go back down towards the heart, so this is the superior end. As you go back down towards the heart, the jugulars actually will receive also, they'll merge into another vessel that you see right here, and this is also, it looks dilated mainly because it's thin-walled. This is the axillary vein here. This is the armpit, the axilla, hence axillary vein, okay, where they come together. Let's see if I can clear
You said vein there?
Yeah, the blue one is the vein
Okay.
here. This is this is an axillary vein, and then underneath it, let me just push this guy out of the way a little bit. Clean this up just a tad. Underneath it is the axillary artery. See that right here. Okay? Axillary artery and the axillary vein, they're right in the armpit, so axilla. Okay? Now, the other part that's neat about this area is if I have the axillary artery and vein and I kind of move those out of the way, you can see a number of white bands here. See these white bands? There's one there. There's a couple more. See that real thick white band? Those are all part of the brachial plexus we talked about earlier in the term. Okay, so they'll basically be the network, basically, the plexus network that actually serves the arm. Okay? So that's a pretty easy one to find. Now, when you go back a little farther, this is going to be a little dicey because I tried not to cut out the clavicle entirely, but essentially, if we look, and let me just bend this out of the way. Now, let me get down like this so you can look over the top. So here we have the axial artery right here, and as it's going back towards the rib cage, which is now severed here, it makes a little bend, and that's where the clavicle is going to be. And basically, where it makes that bend, it's the same vessel, but it makes a bend, goes underneath the clavicle, and becomes the subclavian. So this is the left axillary artery, and where it bends and goes into the rib cage there, it goes underneath the clavicle or around it, which has been partly cut away. It's now the subclavian. Okay?
Oh, wow. Kind of like a street changes name sometimes.
And that's exactly what we're looking at. So if I just move some of this, I'm trying to, this was, okay, I'm going to get the lung out of the way there. I'll bend him out of the way a little bit. And so here, if we get some of this tissue out of the way, we can actually see, here's the axillary artery here, coming around the horn, so to speak. Where'd you go? There it is, right here. This is the vagus nerve coming down there too. I'm trying not to break it. So this is basically the left subclavian down here, and where it's in this, you know, where I've got my probe now. Oops, let me get out of the way so you can see. Look over the top. We have the probe now. That's the same vessel. If I follow this up and go around the turn, then it goes right over here. Okay, same thing. So this is the left subclavian right here, and if I go back farther, it's going to come right off the aortic arch. Everybody see that? There it is right here. Oops. Where'd he go? I lost him. Where'd he go? Come back here. Get out of the way. Okay, so here he is here.
Okay.
Now the other parts, we need, should have just cut this out entirely. So what we want to see here, and I didn't totally clean this out, but this is another, what's the matter?
You need one of those microscopes.
Now here what you can see, this is where the subclavian, this is the aortic arch right here. This left subclavian is the last branch that comes off. You can see where my probe is right now is where it's coming off.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And if you go back farther towards the other leg of the cat, then you can see the other branches coming off there too. So here's basically, this is the brachiocephalic artery. And in this case, basically, there is no left common carotid because you have a brachiocephalic here that splits into the carotids, right there, makes a little Y. So that's a little bit different than you see in your book. Can you see that right there?
I can see the line.
See it? Here's this brachiocephalic where I've got this coming off, and the Y here is one branch of the carotid. Here's the other branch of the carotid. Okay? And that's going to vary quite a bit. So what we're seeing here, I probably should have cut more of this out. I'm just trying to keep some of the stuff intact. So what we've got showing up here is effectively, I thought I got through that, but I guess I didn't. Cool. Hang on.
Ooh. Give it mouth to mouth. Come on now.
No. No, actually, I thought I was through the pericardial sac. I was through the thymus. Here's the pericardial sac here. I was wondering why I couldn't see more. We're going to take this guy right out of his bag, so to speak.
You've got another pair of gloves that'll hold this coat cage open for you.
Huh? There's some over there if you want. So basically, the tissue I'm cutting here is the thymus gland, which again is one of our endocrine